Parenting isn't easy all the time, gang, is it? And let's talk about that a little. Well, there's different stages of parenting. I mean, there's obviously the development stage when they're first young. You just take care of everything when they're babies. But then you get into the stage where you start training them on how to do things for themselves. But then you get to the stage where you have to teach them truths and principles. It's one thing to train them in the basic, training them how to walk, how to talk, how to have manners. But then you get into this teaching stage when they're, between the ages of 3 or 4 years old and all the way through 11, 12, 13, 14. And really, those years are the most critical years, and that's when the most formation takes place in the soul, in the human soul, is between the ages of 3 and 11 years old. A lot of studies have shown that, but I think if you take the burden off of yourself of having perfect children, because nobody has perfect children. It would take perfect parents, which you're not, and neither am I. It would take perfect parents to raise perfect kids. So just take the burden off. Just take the burden off you of thinking that your kids are going to grow up and never make mistakes and never fail or never go through struggles. But get in there with them. When they're little kids, celebrate them. Of course you have to correct them, but you got to celebrate them as much as you correct them. Celebrate them, but also instruct and correct and discipline. But you got to sandwich discipline with love and with instruction and with teaching them the why behind the things. And it's at the youngest ages, they just need to be told yes and no and what to do. But as they get older, they need to understand the why behind it, because their mind becomes logical as they get older. And but how do you, as a parent, how do you start out conversations? Like today, if you said, I want to change my parenting, I want to be a better parent starting today, what would I do? I would sit down with my kids and I would say, look, I don't know, I've never done this before, and you've never been a kid. You've never been somebody's kid before, and I've never been somebody's parent before. So we're all we got. We're all each other has. That's number one. Number two, I would say, look, we're on a journey together, and let's start over. Forget about the past. Forget about how many times you thought I wasn't cool and how many times I, got mad at you. Let's start over and let's begin to navigate through life together. And I'm going to coach you and I'm going to encourage you. We're going to have some family rules here. But here's one rule we need to establish: that we can talk about anything. And you can share anything without feeling like I'm going to judge you. And you have to create an environment of openness. That's what I really want to encourage parents today. You have to create an environment of openness. And I learned this the hard way. So I don't, I hope my kids feel that I created this, but one of them must feel that, because he's filming me right now, so he must like me enough to want to stay in relationship. So, but you got to create an atmosphere and an environment of open communication, non-threatening, non-judgmental, non-interruptive communication. Like, just get your kids to talk. Get them to talk, get them to talk, get them to talk. Just talk to me, talk to me, talk to me. Because they have to talk, they have to express to somebody. And better to express to their parents than their peers. They should have fun and be friends with their peers, but you're the one they should come running to when they're looking to trust somebody, when they're looking to find a safe place. This is the key, I believe, in parenting, is creating safety, of atmosphere where a kid feels safe, where a kid feels that they are not going to be judged and not going to be threatened and not going to be punished for expressing how they feel. Then once they get their feelings out, then you guys navigate together on, okay, what are the choices that need to be made based on what you're feeling? Like if a kid feels like, I'm just struggling with the way I look and my insecurity. I feel like I don't measure up. I'm not as smart as other kids. So now we're into insecurity and comparison. So here's a perfect place to feel, for you to create an environment for your kid to feel safe. Like, tell me everything you feel, and then we'll navigate through it. Because I felt insecure growing up, and this is how you talk to your kid. I felt that too, man. I know exactly how you feel. I might not know exactly how you feel, but I know some of how you feel. And let them talk, let them express it, and then say, let's navigate now how we're going to deal with this, how we're going to get you to the next stage. And sometimes they just needed to express it, and they don't need a next step. And you got to know the difference between when they need input and when they really need direction, and when they just need affection, and when they need correction. If you can get those three things down, that this three-strand cord cannot be broken. Your kid needs affection from you, your kid needs correction from you, and your kid needs direction from you. And equal amounts of that, proper proportions of all three of those things will make your kids champions. Affection, constantly loving them, constantly affirming them, constantly reminding them of how much you love them and how much God loves them. Then correction. Hey, I need to check you on this. I need to speak into your life on this. And then direction. Hey, let me show you the way to go in this situation. Here's two paths you can go down. Here's what's on the other side of this path, and here's what's on the other side of this path, but that's going to have to be your choice. Well, how you communicate that is different depending on the age of your kid, but I hope that helps. I hope that makes sense. I think the real takeaway for you can be today, and for me, the takeaway is creating an environment of safe communication for your kids, where they feel like they can talk about anything without feeling judged. And that's got to come from the depth of your soul. And that's going to be risky for you, because we have a tendency to interrupt. We have a tendency to want to get to the bottom line. We have a tendency to want to judge. Then we're afraid that if our kid feels like, what about when they feel like they're dealing with their identity? You got to be able to navigate them through that without judging them. And you got to teach them what boys go through when they're going through adolescence, and what girls go through. You got to teach them that stuff, and not be like hush hush, shame. There can be no shame in being honest. You got to wipe the shame out of your family, and not create an environment where anybody ever feels ashamed for telling something they're struggling with, something they're not sure about, or when they're not sure about themselves and they're not confident about themselves. No shame, no condemnation, no guilt trip, no manipulation, just total honesty and love. And you will see your kids open up to you and blossom. And it'll protect them from having to open up to the wrong people that it will take advantage of them, that don't have the same motive in their life that you have for their life. So hope that helps and encourages you today on some Parenting 101. God bless.